So this is going to be for chapter 2, number 1. So the first question is, what determines the physical and chemical properties of an atom? So for example, here you have 3 different atoms. You have hydrogen, helium, and lithium. So what determines their individual chemical and physical properties? Alright, so let's double check this one. What determines an atom's physical and chemical properties are the number of protons. And from the choices, that's going to be C. Next question. This is chapter 2, number 2. So in the image below, what is the ball-like structure in the center? So this object here. So what does that represent? So from the choice, let's see what it is. It's the nucleus. It's the nucleus, and the nucleus contains protons and neutrons, and it's going to be at the center, so the choice here is D. So at the center of the atom you have protons and neutrons, and orbiting around it you have electrons. But the center is the nucleus that contains protons and neutrons. So next, chapter 2, number 3. So electrons have a blank charge and a mass that is blank than protons. So we're comparing an electron's charge and its mass to that of a proton. So let's double check to see what the answer is for this one. And the answer is, so if this is a proton, the electron is going to be much smaller, and the proton, so that because of that, the electron, well, it's going to have less mass, and also protons have a positive charge and electrons that have a negative charge. So the answer is D, that electrons have a negative charge and they have a smaller mass. Alright, so let's go to the next one. So chapter 2, number 4. So in atomic bonding, which involves 2 atoms sharing, so the key word there is sharing, but sharing or few electrons, what kind of bonding is this? So in this picture you see that you have 3 atoms, and here the atoms are bonded, they're bound, and they're sharing a few electrons. So out of the choices, what kind of bond does that represent? So let's see what the answer is. It's covalent bonding. So covalent bonds, that is when you share a few electrons. And that is B. So covalent means sharing. Alright, so let's go to number 5. Chapter 2, number 5. Atomic bonding involves the transfer of electrons from, well, this is another kind of bonding, and this bonding refers to what kind of atomic bonding involves the transfer of one electron from one atom to the other, which means that one atom gains an electron and another atom permanently loses an electron, so there's no sharing involved. So this kind of bonding is ionic bonding. So ionic bonding, so this is D. Ionic bonding, one atom gains and another atom loses an electron. Alright, so the next one, chapter 2, number 6. Which is the most abundant element on the surface of the earth? So let's double check here. So the most abundant element on the earth is one that we're pretty familiar with, and it's oxygen. So this is D. So oxygen is the number 1 most abundant, and the next most abundant is silicone. So that's the number 2 most abundant. Okay. Chapter 2, number 7. What is another name for the outermost electrons? So you're looking at the red rings there. So you see all these are electrons, but there's a certain number of there's certain electrons that are on the outer ring. And so what are the name of these electrons, and what do they do? Chapter 2, number 7. So the name of these electrons are valence electrons, and what valence electrons do is that they help to form chemical bonds. Alright, so next one, chapter 2, number 8. So what kind of bonding is this? So what you're looking at is a bunch of atoms, and electrons are moving around freely throughout the bulk here. So what kind of bonding is this, where the electron is acting like a glue to keep the entire bulk together? So this kind of bonding is metallic bonding. So in metallic bonding, each atom gives up 1 valence electron, and metallic bonding, and the electron is shared, but it's shared between all atoms. Covalent bonds share between 1 or 2 atoms, but metallic bonds, it's shared between all atoms. Okay. Chapter 2, number 9. So what is the difference between an element, and I like to say molecule, but the book and perhaps the test will say compound. What is the difference between an element and a molecule? So here you're looking at both, actually. You're looking at molecules, but you're also looking at elements. So let's see what the difference is. So the difference is, let's see here, an element is made up of just 1 kind of atom, but a molecule can contain 2 or more different kinds of atoms. Okay. So this is a methane molecule, but the methane molecule is made up of individual atoms, but you see they have different kinds of atoms. Same thing for the water molecule. Alright, so next question. This is chapter 2, number 10. So what is the difference between a mineral and a rock? So looking at this picture, you have these minerals that are pretty much the same kinds of molecules evenly distributed throughout. So these are minerals, but each of them are combined to form a rock. So minerals combine to form rocks. So this completes the review for chapter 2. Now we'll go on to chapter 3.